It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of June 12th, 1992. Now, once again, not using the main setup here because we really only have two movies to look at today, but unlike the last couple of weeks, these two movies here are not really all that memorable. I mean, we could talk about them, but not one of them was really any good, so let's just delve into this. Let's start off with the first movie that we have here, and that is Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn in House Sitter. Strange thing is that 30 years from now, this would probably be a situation you would see in a Karen video where somebody just walks into your house and claims that it's theirs, and they have no proof that it's theirs, and they just feel like they're entitled to have it. It's pretty much that same concept here, and but as far as this movie goes, I mean, considering that the talent that they have out here, I mean, you have Frank Oz, who had just the year before directed What About Bob, which is a fantastic comedy. You've got Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn, two very funny people who have great chemistry with most of the people they work with. I mean, this should be a project that should work, but when you watch the movie, it really doesn't, because really, one side is definitely on the right side. Steve Martin's basically the man who's not the guy shouldn't even be in the situation. And Goldie Hawn's just basically a con artist who's just taken over this Steve Martin's house for no reason, and has just created the story about who she actually is, and when it's not the case whatsoever. And that's really the whole joke of the movie, is that Goldie Hawn's the person that's doing whatever she wants, and Steve Martin's just the straight man trying to be like, how did he get into this situation? And if the script was better written, maybe this could work, but really, when you watch the movie, it pretty much goes as you would think it would go. They're going to end up falling in love with each other in real life, and they're going to have the third act breakup. They're going to have the situation where they have to get back together at the end. It's really nothing original or creative whatsoever. I mean, to their credit, Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn are doing their best with the material given to them, and they do have that good chemistry that they work off each other so well. In terms of it's actually the first of two movies that they would be paired up together, and neither one of them really were that good. There was this one, and then there was The Out of Towners, which would come out at the end of the decade. But we'll eventually get to that one. But I mean, at least this one's the better of the two, but it's not really saying all that much. It's a movie that I think could have been a whole lot better if the script wasn't too formulaic, it wasn't too predictable, and there was actually a balance between these two people. Even though they do work off each other very well, the balance really isn't there, because Steve Martin's clearly in the right here, and Goldie Hawn's clearly in the wrong. I mean, any situation you look at here, she's creating these lies, and it's just basically a go with it. In a way, it's kind of like Just Go With It, that movie with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston that came out a few years ago, where Adam Sandler's basically just lying and has to create this fake relationship. That's what it's kind of like here. I mean, but again, I would probably take this movie over that movie, but yeah, overall, this movie really wasn't worth it. I mean, it's a very disappointing movie. Martin and Hawn are trying their best here, but it just doesn't work in the end for me. It's a movie that I saw once. I have no real intention of ever seeing it again, unfortunately. So that's House Sitter. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie that we have here, a sequel that I know everybody's been waiting for. I mean, why wouldn't you want to see the latest adventures of Louis Gossett Jr. in a series that is the only one he could really get after winning an Academy Award for An Officer and a Gentleman? That is, of course, Ace's Iron Eagle 3. And you know I'm completely lying about this, but let's talk about Ace's Iron Eagle 3. Yes, Rachel McClish, star of Ace's Iron Eagle 3 and Ravenhawk, and even then that was a TV movie, but yeah, she never really went anywhere after this, and this series never really went anywhere even after the first movie. It's just like, really, they made more than one Iron Eagle sequel. Apparently they made a couple of them, because there's another one that came out in '95, but at least they were smart enough to say, send us off the video, because clearly nobody's going to see these movies, and you can kind of tell why. I mean, on the one hand, it's got John Glenn, who had directed 5 James Bond movies, and he makes this movie, and it's just like, what happened? Like, you made 5 James Bond movies, and even the worst James Bond movies were actually it still had more value than this movie did. And Louis Gossett Jr., why do you keep doing this to yourself, man? You're an Academy Award winner, and you keep saying yes to these movies for no reason whatsoever. It's a mess. It's a movie that doesn't work whatsoever. They honestly should have stopped after the first Iron Eagle. I mean, really, what has the series done after the first Iron Eagle movie that contributes anything to society? Nothing really. So, there you go. Quick one there. That's Ace's Iron Eagle 3. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, one new movie to look at next week, and it's probably the biggest movie of the summer of '92, and that is Batman Returns. Of course, the follow-up to the '89 Batman movie, the one that Tim Burton got more creative control on, the one that has Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Does it really top what the original film does? Some people may say yes, some people may say no. How do I feel about this movie? Well, you're going to have to find out on the next episode. So, with that said, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.